Welcome back to the Talos of Tech podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very special guest. He is a moderator of our Twitch streams of great loyalty. He has been a loyal viewer of the Tailosive Network for a long, long time, ever since 2003. He also invented wheels, which I think is kind of cool. Scott, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. And I only invented Mac Pro wheels, so I invented the $700 Mac Pro wheels.
That's amazing. I knew I phrased it a little weird. There was something in there, but thank you for coming on. We appreciate you being in a long list of people filling in for Randy as he's moving. Where's he moving again, Nick? Australia?
Virginia.
Oh, that's right.
Not as exciting as Australia.
That's almost as bad.
Almost as bad.
I can not Virginia because I used to live there.
Oh, you did. Interesting. So now it's almost as if we have future Randy on the show with us today.
It's like a space-time continuum fourth wall break.
The only unfortunate thing is I don't have a green Model 3, so I guess I got to get on that.
Oh,
Yet.
Well,
think positive thoughts.
We've got like an hour. You can rush it.
There we go. Hey, Mom, guess what I did today?
Yeah, guess what I did today? Well, because it's the running theme of Apple right now, let's just get it out of the way instead of falling into this later in the show.
Yeah.
New iMac, how do you feel?
I'm not a fan.
No! Am I gonna be out? No, I'm outnumbered on this show.
Scott.
Keep going. I cannot stand it. And here's the thing: I would not say I hate it. I would say I despise it. And here's the difference. I can hate something.
Fair enough.
Like, the example that comes to mind is Brussels sprouts. I hate those, and I have a friend, she loves them, and I'm like, great, like, they're not for me, but I'm glad you enjoy them. With the iMac, I'm like, no, this is not a thing that should exist. And so whenever someone is like, oh, I love that design, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Because I know, like, in Apple Park, like, if they just turned the camera a little bit, we'd see the, like, pristine, like, no chin, like, bezel-less, like, iMac design, and the fact they chose to make this one instead, that we have to look at until like the 2030s. Oh.
Now everyone understands why Scott is on the show.
Drew needed some backup.
I needed someone.
I'm just gonna have to invite more people on the show. I'm maybe I need to find someone else who agrees with me, because the iMac is actually amazing, Scott. You're completely wrong. It is so thin and so beautiful from the side and the back.
It's
that
an
it all
iMac.
compensates.
It does not need to be thin.
Yes, it does. That was the number one complaint.
Let me understand more. Like, from the side and the back, do you like the design, or is that still not?
Yeah,
your thing?
sure. Like, but when am I ever going to look at the side of an iMac and be like, oh, I like this?
Yes.
I will.
Thank you.
I will. I'm so excited.
Okay, Nick.
It's pretty funny how controversial the whole subject has become, because I kind of ranted on it, and I thought that was going to be like, all right, everyone knows how I feel. Let's move on. But then the comments and the replies on Twitter and the people wanting to talk about it, like, just didn't stop. Like in the Twitch streams and stuff, now everyone's like, okay, so how do you feel about white bezels on a MacBook, though? Or how do you feel about, I read somewhere that the next MacBook's going to have white bezels, and then someone shows me another picture. But what about this white bezel device? And I'm like, you think it's going to be different for something else? Like,
because
this
those
is the
are
one
actually
thing I've
true
stayed
tone
almost...
white bezels, Drew. They're going to match the paper color.
It's actually bezel-less. They just add a white bezel in software, and the bezel changes.
Yes.
But the comments keep coming back. Like, people just want to keep talking about it, and they want to keep going on the subject. So I'm like, okay, well, if this is what everybody's thinking about, then I'll keep going on it. But I'm glad I found someone else who agrees with me. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, no problem. The worst part about the iMac for me is it makes me worried about the 14-inch MacBook Pro.
Really? Why does it make you worry about that?
Well, I keep seeing rumors like, next MacBook, white bezel is coming in colors, and I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah. For the record, I don't mind colors. It all comes down to black bezels for me.
I don't mind colors
that's...
either. I mind the ones they chose for the iMac.
The blue is pretty nice.
I think the blue from behind looks good.
Thank you.
But I never see it. Yeah.
So just use your iMac differently, Drew. Just turn it around and use it from the back.
Just stare at the back. Yeah, I think most of the rumors I was reading were an allusion to the MacBook Air getting a white iMac style, which, because I'm not really a MacBook Air type person, I'm kind of like, don't like it, but okay. There were a lot of renders going around by a guy named Ian. Shout out to him. He does great renders. I just happen to not like the design style. The render itself is great. I'm not trying to hate on Ian. I'm just trying to say the concept I saw had a white keyboard with white bezels. Mm-hmm. Something about that color palette to me screams cheap. I don't know what it is.
It looks like
maybe
a Chromebook.
It's seeing all those. Is it a Chromebook? Is that what it
looks like? A Chromebook to me. Yeah, I've seen those MacBook
Have you seen the render I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have. It looks like a Chromebook.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like white keys in general. I guess I'm gonna have more. Jeez, I guess the iMac's coming with white keys, so get ready for that. But at one point, it did have the black numeric keypad, wireless Magic Keyboard, and that was nice because it was all just black. And what I don't like about the white ones, that I've had tons of white keyboards in the past. I have the chiclet style plug-in numpad right now, and the white keys kind of get tainted and colored after a while because you're touching it so much. And it's pretty easy to clean off. You just got to get like a damp paper towel and just you rub on them really hard. But it's still gross that like you can see that and it's like, ew, I'm touching that, and then I'm touching other things, and that's germs and that's gross. So I do like the black keyboards because you don't see that, and then you don't think about the germs, which is probably worse for you, to be completely honest. But on a laptop, I'm
looking at mine. Yeah.
Yeah, look at all those oils. Delicious, huh?
There's definitely oils, but I agree that it's less noticeable because I used to use a white keyboard constantly, and it was so bad. It was so brown and dirty all the time. This is like dirty, but I can't tell.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So I especially with I believe the 12-inch MacBook back in 2014 when we were getting rumors about the 12-inch MacBook, a lot of the renders did use a white keyboard. And I remember back at the time being like, ew, that kind of looks a little gross, but I was a huge fan of USB-C and the first Apple device to have USB-C, so I was all for it. And thankfully, even the gold MacBook Air has a black keyboard, or MacBook, 12-inch MacBook, and then that carried on to all the other colors of MacBooks. What was the last MacBook that we had with a white keyboard? Was that like the 2008 or 2010 white?
That was the unibody MacBook. I had one of those.
Ooh.
Oh, you did?
I did. It was my first ever Intel Mac.
Oh, ew. What was the year that came out? I don't remember.
2008. Yeah.
Really? Because even my mom's MacBook Pro, which was like the first Apple laptop I ever had experience with, had black keys, and I always thought that design looked better. So I think that's what threw me off even more so than the bezels was the white keys. It's like I don't know, that just, some people really liked it. I'm happy for them because if they get a new design and they like it and it works for them, good for you. But I don't know, when I saw that render, I was like, to me that looks like a step backwards. Like it feels objectively worse than the current MacBook Air design, which I don't mind there being more color options. If you want to keep your black keys and your black bezels, but now it's like product red, I could actually see myself buying that over a gray or a silver because I like those types of colors. Or what I would prefer even more is just like a all black, like not gray, but like matte black chassis, black keys. Everything's just dark black. I thought that look was pretty cool too, but how about you, Scott? Did you like the white keys at all?
No,
I
had them on the 2008 MacBook, and before that on my iBook, and I have no desire to go back to white keys. They get so dirty so quickly, and then like eventually like you just quit. Like Nick's like, oh, just get a paper towel and clean it. Eventually you just quit doing that because you don't feel like it.
Scott's just like into the dumpster with you.
Then you just put up with it, but. What worries me, because I saw the same render for the MacBook Air, but if you look at the rumor, it rumors a MacBook coming in colors, and I don't know why everyone assumed MacBook Air, because they already put Apple silicone in that. I don't think they're gonna touch that for a good long while now.
True.
And I'm like, the next Mac that's
point.
coming is supposed to be this like 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I am so worried they're gonna do colors and white bezels and like USB-A ports and.
Oh no. Gosh, I hope USB-A doesn't come back.
But okay, why are people okay with an SD card slot but not with USB-A? I don't understand this. Like, why do some people want an SD card slot on their computer? Like Randy.
I have an answer, but I'm curious if Scott does.
SD cards, like, those are something people still use like every day. Is USB-A really something like we're all still using?
I mean, I don't know about you, but I use my 30-pin connector every single day.
Oh
this
gosh.
is a vital piece of my technology.
Hey, Nick, how's 2003?
It's actually 2011, and it's going really well.
Yes, the 4 just on hand. For me, the reason is that USB-A has had a very clear and obvious replacement that is superior, which is Type-C, that can do everything USB-A does and more, and it's better designed because I hate the non-reversible approach. Whereas SD card, I wasn't too upset when they removed it because, I knew I was going to be using CFast cards, so I needed an adapter anyway. But also, I was hoping back in the day, when did they start removing it? Like 2015, 2016 was when they stopped including it. I was like, I want Apple to start promoting and revolutionizing wireless data transfer. I was really hoping they would open AirDrop to third parties and be like, straight from your camera now, you can just like AirDrop to your Mac and just start video editing. And I thought they were promoting that and encouraging that. And there are a few cameras with Type-C ports that you can import directly off of, but I feel like most people don't do that. And the fact that Apple hasn't opened up AirDrop for whatever reason, maybe there's some security concern if they bring that to third parties, or I don't know what the reason is they can't try to incentivize camera companies to improve wireless data transfer, but the development hasn't happened. There's a few cameras with the Wi-Fi transfer thing. It's kind of clunky. And because it hasn't really taken off the way they wanted it to, that's why I'm okay with it coming back, is like I have it on my iMac
Did they
Pro.
try?
And what's that?
Did they even try to make that happen?
No, they didn't.
Exactly.
But when they first removed it, I thought that was the plan. I thought I thought they were like, wireless is the future. This is where we're headed. And I was like, cool, wireless is the future. I'm all about that. But then it never really turned into anything. And that's when I was like, well, if you're not going to push it very hard, then, I mean, for one, SD card slot is very thin. It's very narrow. So to me, it's not super obnoxious to include it on a thin MacBook because it's I think it's thinner than the Type-C port. So it's a very narrow, unobtrusive design, whereas USB-A, whenever I see that on a thin design, it's always like in a giant gaping hole. And I hate it because it's not reversible, but it's symmetrical, and Type-C is so much better. But SD card, I'm like, yeah, they didn't really go anywhere with that. Obviously, a lot of people use those, and there hasn't really been a better alternative that's been announced. That if there was, I wish they would adopt it. Like, I don't know, like a reversible SD card or something weird. But since there hasn't been much development in that phase, that's why I'm fine with it coming back, and I definitely know a lot of people would use it. I feel kind of the same way about HDMI coming back. I'm like,
out of all the ports they want to bring back, I'm more okay with the SD slot than even HDMI, because that's still a giant like, hole in the side of the laptop.
Yeah.
It is. And USB-C can do the job of HDMI, which is why I kind of feel weird about it too.
It does it better because it does power delivery. And most of the time when you're using HDMI, it's handy to have power delivery built in.
Yeah. If I could choose to keep one, like I would rather keep SD card too. I would honestly rather them ditch the headphone jack and keep the SD card slot. I don't really need that on the MacBook. I know AirPods have a bit of latency, but it's not noticeable enough for me to be an issue. But I'm glad they keep it for those who want to plug into the external speakers and stuff. But yeah, the HDMI is like, it's a big port, and Type-C can do the exact same thing. So that's purely Apple just being like, well, people take their MacBooks into different boardroom meetings and they have an HDMI cable in there and they just want to use that. My thought process is always just like, give them a Type-C cable instead. HDMI to Type-C, not that expensive. It's not that complicated. But yeah, at least it's not symmetrical. That's how I'm a little bit more forgiving of HDMI compared to USB-A. It's like there's only one way to plug into HDMI, whereas USB-A, you're like, wait, what? Oh, this way. HDMI's got that indentation. Makes it a little more simple, but is that the Mac you're going to be in the market for, Scott? Or
yes.
Okay.
I do not want to give up having 4 ports. So my Apple Silicon Mac has to have 4 Type-C ports on either side. I don't even necessarily care if they're Thunderbolt, but I need them. Yeah, on the iPad Pro, like one of the things I love with the Magic Keyboard is I have ports on each side now, and one's just for charging. But it's solved so many issues where like I sit down and the outlet's right next to me, and I can plug into either side.
I love that. Me too.
See, we only need one.
And I guess
one
you
port
can't have that with the Air
because the USB-C.
No, I used to have a MacBook Air, and that was so annoying. Where I usually study back at school, the spot I sit in, the outlet's on the other side, and I used to have to like get the cable and like drag it all the way across the table and plug in. And then when I got the 4-port MacBook Pro, and I sat down in the same exact spot, and I just pulled the cable, plugged it in, I was like, I'm never going back.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I wish, honestly, I've been asking for a long time that iPads would just have a Type-C on either side.
Yes, that would be kind of nice.
Even if you weren't with the keyboard case. And now that the Thunderbolt, are you interested at all in the mini LED iPad, or what's your iPad situation?
So I have an 11-inch iPad Pro, 2018, and I was looking to upgrade this year, but then they put mini LED on the big one, and I already had Magic Keyboard and like a Folio case and everything for the 11-inch, and I decided, I was like, I'm just not gonna upgrade. I'm gonna wait for mini LED to come to the 11-inch before I upgrade.
Fair enough.
Because going to the 12.9-inch, I looked into it. I was like, I could sell my Mac, I could sell my iPad, and I could just use the 12.9-inch mini LED iPad Pro. And even that, first of all, I like having 2 devices, but also like the cost was still high.
You also like having $1,500 to spend on something.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I had money set aside to upgrade my iPad this year, and I spent them on AirTags instead.
Like $1,000 worth?
No, like 200.
200?
Oh, what did you do?
Did you buy
Scott?
8?
So I bought 4 AirTags, and then I
half
bought
of an Hermes.
3 like. I wish. just to be that guy.
That guy.
Honestly, you need an AirTag just for your AirTags Hermes.
That's true. It's very valuable. You wouldn't want to lose that. Which attachments did you get?
So I got hold on, I have them. Like I got this is like the like leather like
the fancy
loop on my keys.
Dang.
I have the
Isn't that the one that costs more than the tag itself?
Yeah. On the keys I have the like keychain one, also more than the tag. And then for the last one, I went cheap and got the little Belkin holder. And then
that's what I got.
Yeah, the 4th one I just like shoved inside of my wallet. I was like, I'm not spending more on accessories than on AirTags, so I only bought 3 accessories.
I'm glad you have a limit. You had a barrier there.
I did, because I was looking at like my cart total, because originally I had put the leather loop, the silicone loop, the key fob, and the Belkin one, and I was looking at my cart total, and I was like, my accessories total is more than my AirTags total. It's so they're so smart bizarre. Though doing that, because they know like $29 or $99 for 4. Oh, that's low. And then, I need something to put it in. And next thing you know, you're spending more on the like 10 cents worth of lever that they stamped out than you are on the actual like tag.
Yep.
It was pretty smart, I think.
But they ship it in the world's largest box. So think when you're paying that extra, you're paying for the shipping.
I ordered AirTags and then the 3 accessories, and they sent me a separate box for every single item.
Oh my god.
Oh my
I
gosh.
kept going down to my apartment front desk, and I was like, I have a package, and they all arrived at different times. So like throughout the day, I kept coming downstairs like, I have another packet. By like the fourth one, they were like, what did you order?
What did you get?
Just AirTags.
And you're like, just this little coin thing, but it had to come in these giant boxes. Like, yeah, my Belkin came in a giant separate box from the AirTag.
Oh.
I ordered them at the same time, not separate orders or anything.
Yeah, me too. It was my roommates came out, and I had like 4 like boxes on the counter, and I was like, I swear, like I only ordered like it was one order, one
It's
order
only
number
$200
on Apple.
worth of stuff.
Altogether, it was less than a pound.
I know. All they had to do was just throw it all in one of those like envelopes and just put a couple stamps on it and send it to me.
Exactly.
I don't
Like if they're removing charge bricks for the environment, then you can ship me AirTags and everything in like one box.
They removed the charge bricks and then completely ate up all of that shipping savings through the AirTags.
Honestly.
They're like, what do we do with all this excess cardboard now, Jim? Let's ship AirTags in a big box.
The best part is AirTags came from UPS and the accessories came from FedEx. I was like, just send them on the same like truck.
I don't get that. There must be a reason. They must be an answer for why they have to do all that separately. Maybe the Belkin or accessories were in a different warehouse from the AirTag warehouse, so they had to use a different carrier or something, but still, it feels very dumb.
It is.
Just put them together. Ship the AirTags to the accessory warehouse or something.
I will give a huge shout out to Best Buy, though, because after we talked last week and I, talked about the one AirTag I got, I may not have ordered 4 more.
Oh my god. Hey, you have more AirTags than I do now.
I do have more AirTags than Scott. And
Why did you get more?
It was because of one throwaway line in one of Marquez's videos. And I'm so mad at him for doing this because it cost me $100. He said, AirTags are useful. You can put them on anything, like drones. And I was like, oh, shoot. Now I need some more. So, yeah. I was going to get 2 AirTags.
How many drones do you have?
I have 2 drones. And so I was like, well, I need 2 AirTags. And I was like, well, I might as well get 4 because it's a little cheaper per AirTag.
That is not cheaper at all.
Yeah, per AirTag it is a little cheaper. And I kind of still wanted to put one in my car. So I now have one in my car and one on each of my drones. And I have one extra that I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with.
Isn't the tag worth more than the car, though?
Jeez, what do you think I was right, Drew?
Well, I was thinking too. I was like, maybe I should put an AirTag in my car, and then I was like, wait, my car is worthless. Why would I? No one's gonna steal that. No,
it's not really for theft. More so is it like if I forget where I parked it, because I have done that a couple times where like you're in a mall all day or something, and you come out and you're like, where the heck did I park my car? I know it's like in this quadrant of sea of cars, but which one?
I picture Nick as the guy in the parking lot with like using the ultra wideband feature. My car's like 20 feet away. Where is it?
I mean, yeah, don't you have like, can't you honk the horn?
Or, yeah, I do. Yeah, but I don't want to be that guy. I'm an apple sheep.
I have not lost my car in a parking lot. I think I'm trying to think of it.
I've always found it. It's just been kind of sketch for a few minutes there. Like, oh, where's my car? Thought I parked it next to this tree.
My thing about the car is I don't think there will be enough iPhones around like the car to like ping the AirTag. Because in a parking lot, like you park your car, you lock your car, and then you walk into the mall, but no one's going to be in the parking lot next to your car with an iPhone that can ping your AirTag.
Right.
Well, that's why I bought an iPhone 12 Pro Max that I put in the glove compartment of my car.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, then at that point, just use Find My to find the iPhone, Nick.
Exactly.
Right. Doesn't it tell you where it was last detected?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, as long as it wasn't moved, it'll show you where it last was. So, it's kind of a poor man's Tesla feature.
In your pocket.
Yeah.
A poor man's Tesla feature. Yeah, I actually just sold my AirTag yesterday.
Oh, really?
I was just going to ask, did you send it back?
I was going to because I loved it and I had nothing but pretty much nice things to say about it, but I was just like, I don't lose my keys. I can't remember the last time I have. It's not something I'm worried about, and I'll go on the record for the podcast, and everybody listening can hold me accountable. As someone who has done my best to be honest and very upfront, if I run into a situation where I lose my keys, I will let everybody know. I will go out and tweet. I'll go out of my way to say I shouldn't have sold my AirTag because I'm in a situation where I really don't know where they are and I need to find them. I have not run into that situation in years. And the last time I did lose my keys, I found them like a couple hours later, so it wasn't like they were gone for good. I've never like lost them to the point of no return. But what happened was we had a couple friends over for dinner last night, and I was showing them the AirTag, a friend of mine, and I was showing them like, see, I can track the stuff, and we did the whole like, here, Louise, hide it in the other room, and they all did the ultra wideband thing and tracked it down, and they were like, wow, this is really cool. And I told them it was $29, and they were like, huh, that's actually really affordable. And my friend was like, my mom loses her keys like all the time. I should get one. I told her I was going to get her something for Mother's Day, but I didn't know what to get her. And this is, we're recording this on Saturday. This happened like Friday night. And he goes onto the Apple Store app and he's looking and he's like, oh, it won't get here till next week. And I was like, well, I'm not keeping mine, so you can just buy this one off me. I'm Starlinking right now. I know they're probably saying mean things about me. Am I back?
Hi, you're back.
You
now.
are.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So essentially, he needed an AirTag for Mother's Day, but they weren't going to ship him a new one in time. Yeah. And I told him, I don't really need mine, so you can just buy this one off me. And he was like, cool. He just handed me some cash, and I gave him the AirTag and factory reset it and everything. And he was like, thanks, this will work perfect. So
how do you factory reset
don't even have
AirTag?
To file a return.
How does that work?
What's that?
I saw an article on Twitter, Nick.
Reset?
There's like a support document or something.
Interesting. Huh,
it's actually really simple. You just go to the Find My app and hit remove item, and that's it.
Okay.
It's just one little button. And then as soon as that AirTag gets near another iPhone, it'll show the pop-up thing.
Oh, interesting.
So
wow, that's easy.
It's pretty smart. It's funny that it's in like pairing mode perpetually, like at all times. Like, because you can't. I guess I could have tried to put the plastic back in between the battery and the outside, but it didn't.
Did you also give him the Belkin thingy? Or?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I gave him everything, so I'm nice. AirTagless now. But I will be on the record that if I run into a situation where I could have used it, I will probably openly admit it and likely buy one right after.
It's funny how you talk about like not losing your keys, because back at my apartment at school, I was thinking the same thing. I always have a spot to put my keys, but I came home yesterday and I like set my keys on the counter, and then I could not find them, and so I pull out my iPhone and I'm like, I have an AirTag on them now.
Nice.
And I hit the little play sound button, and I swear I put them on the counter, but like the sound starts playing in my room. I'm like, what are my keys doing in my room? So I think somebody like moved my keys from my counter to my room for me and just didn't tell me, but I found my keys. So.
Interesting.
Well, hey,
yeah, I completely think they're worth it for everyday people based on like the everyday folk I've showed them to, kind of like Nick's video when he showed them to his grandpa. Like everybody's always fairly surprised by the price and
the battery
how well
too.
In the battery life and how accurate you can find them down.
Yeah,
I think they're amazing, and I think that they're probably there's a high likelihood of them getting like Apple Product of the Year for me. Like new product category that's going to change everything.
Do, like, trophies and stuff.
We did an unofficial awards show last year.
Yeah,
we ship it to Tim Cook's house personally. This is the Telosive Award.
Yeah, I feel like, here you go, Tim. Don't ask how I know where you live, but here you go. You're welcome.
You stuck an AirTag on Tim.
Oh my gosh.
They're
That's creepy.
One of the coolest, like, easy to set up devices Apple has made in a long time, and it's so exciting to see a device that's not like a refresh or a variation on another product, that they got the price right and they got everything right. So I'm very impressed with them, but I've just like, I don't need them. I know that if I kept it, I would forget about it and then probably let the battery die and not change it, and then just have this pointless tag on my keys all the time.
That's
like I know that's where it's going.
That's my least favorite part about them is the like battery, because I was like messing around with one and I popped the like back off and I could not get it back on to save my life. And I primarily got them because I travel a lot. Like tomorrow I'm going to visit my aunt, so I have one in my backpack, one on my carry-on, and then my keys in my wallet. Basically anything that has to go through the like security belt at the airport, I put an AirTag in. That way when the airline like makes me gate check my carry-on and then is like, oh, we can't find your bag, I can be like, it's 30 feet that way, like, go get
it. I'm curious to see how they respond to that, because I'm like putting it on luggage, but it's like behind some building somewhere.
Or like it shows up and
it's right here.
It shows up and it's like in Hawaii and you have to be like, no, call the Hawaii airport and like find my bag.
We don't know where it is. I do. It's here.
It's right here. Go find it.
It'll be interesting to see people bring that up, and I think that they've made them super obtainable and accessible to the everyday person. So they're just going to be flooding the market with it. It's to me, it's like the next AirPods. That's the way I see it. Is like this is going to be everywhere eventually. Like in the next few years, it's going to become so commonplace and so like everywhere that people are so comfortable with it. And I feel bad for Tile, but also
it's business.
I hope they can make a better product somehow.
They really make a great gift. Like you know, instead of like socks, like you're in the Apple store, what can I get my grandson? Oh, he has an iPhone. I'm gonna get him an Apple or an AirTag.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what my friend was saying when I showed them to him. He was like, before you couldn't get anything out of an Apple store for $29.
True.
Like, even if you wanted a case, you had to drop like 40, 50 bucks. Yeah. I guess with a Belkin keychain, you might have to drop still 40, 50 bucks. But just the fact that there's like a battery powered piece of tech that works with your iPhone that you can buy for $29 now is pretty. You're right. It does make a perfect gift for so many people, because you're like losing stuff, you know. That's such a common thing. So I'm glad they exist. For the longest time, I was just kind of sick of the leak, and now I'm just like, wow, that's kind of impressive. They surpassed my expectations.
What do you think they'll do for the second generation AirTags?
That's a really good question, because I'm like, do you need a second gen?
U2 wireless chip.
U2. It has the album art they gave everybody.
It just plays the album instead of the sound when you ping it. It just plays the U2 album.
Just because of the backlash they got for U2, they're gonna go straight to U3. It'll be the U1X. U1X chip. Now you can do the ultra wideband thing from like 200 feet away instead of 50 feet. I don't know.
That'd be kind of cool.
What else can they do?
I am a big fan of your idea of making it charge with the Apple Watch charger, because like I was saying, I bought them for travel, and I know the battery lasts a year, but it would be really nice before a trip if I could just charge them all up and then put them on all of my things and have them be fully charged. Because with the year-long battery, like, I know I'm gonna wait until I get the alert low battery, and then like if I'm on a trip, I'm gonna specifically like have to interrupt my trip, go out, find those batteries, and like stick them in my AirTag.
True.
So it would be nice if I
didn't think about it when you're on a trip. Yeah,
it would be nice if I could just charge them up beforehand, and maybe they take like an hour or two on the like Apple Watch puck, and then like they're good to go.
My wife said the same thing, which I thought was interesting, because she came in here while I was editing, and she saw Nick's video he posted on Twitter with the Apple Watch puck and the AirTag, and he was just like, and she was like, "Oh, so that's how you charge them?" And I was like, "No. That just is a match made in heaven that doesn't work." But from the public response, it seems like everyone seems to prefer having a user replaceable
make
battery.
It an option. Like, charge me $10 more and let me select like rechargeable like Apple Watch. Like,
sure, I agree with that. If they let you just opt for the user replaceable, but also if they're like, hey, have an Apple Watch charger, use this one, and that way they don't have to ship the cable or anything.
In a separate box.
They still ship you just the AirTag.
That's that big.
In a whole separate box that's the size of an iMac.
Yes, they'll ship you the AirTag in one, and then the Apple Watch charger in another, and then the accessory in a third. And they'll come from like FedEx, USPS, and UP. They'll come from 3 separate carriers.
And DHL.
And DHL.
And Amazon Prime delivery.
It's a whole other carrier. They have a drone show up
and
drop it off. But yeah, if it was an option at checkout, you could just be like, I have an Apple Watch charger, let me charge it. And like, even if it wasn't as good a battery, I don't know why, but people were just like, well, if it was rechargeable, the battery life would be worse. I don't know why.
I think it would be better if it was rechargeable.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean,
how so?
like lithium like rechargeable batteries like in things, they generally, like any product that's gone from like replaceable to like lithium batteries has generally lasted longer. So I don't get that argument of the little like coin cell batteries would last longer than however many milliamps they want to stick in an AirTag.
Yeah, I would argue the same, because the 2032s, because they're user replaceable, they have to wrap them in a metal coating, right? Yeah. Whereas if it was not user replaceable, you could not have that interior metal coating, which you have now, and just choose the milliamp hours to fill up the whole thing. And people were telling me that adding a charge coil would add space, but the way I thought of it was like, if you make a device you have to push down on and twist, that's going to take up more space too, because it has to be able to give and then detach and kind of spring open. So I was like, I don't know. I saw a few people saying like it's a privacy thing. Like if you found an AirTag on you, you want to be able to deactivate it if you have the option. I guess if it
you can also just take it and like chuck it like 20 feet. And...
That's true.
Have fun tracking this trash can.
Yeah.
Throw it on a dump truck. Like, that's true, I guess. So even that argument doesn't make... It's like, if you find an AirTag on you, you don't have to keep it.
Yeah.
There's no law. It's like, oh no, I have to hold on to this.
I would mess with somebody. If I found an AirTag on me, I would go somewhere like that I wouldn't normally go and like leave it there. And then that person would be like, what the heck is he doing here?
Or they show the little like not your AirTag pop up, right? Yeah. Couldn't that thing just allow you to factory reset it via software if they were just letting you to be like, this isn't yours?
Then you could steal AirTags. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah, that would make it easy to steal and repair. But
you can turn it off, but you can't resell it.
Maybe have a feature where like you can go to like Apple or like Best Buy or wherever and be like, I found this AirTag on me, and then they take it and like put in the serial number and like.
Oh. That could work. Well, because I was thinking you could still steal someone's AirTag if you find their bag and they're not near it or something. Yeah. But I think you can factory reset them even if you don't have them paired, unless you activate lost mode. I'm not sure. Now there's all these things I want to try. It's gone. Yeah. Someone will have answers for me. But I was thinking, I think I read online if you... AirTags. Go ahead, Nick. What were you
No, I said, too bad you don't have any friends who have an AirTag that can try this out.
Well, not near me, but it'd be fun for you to ship one and just...
what you want me to do is just give you AirTags. I see. Okay.
I'll ship it back. I just mean it would be like interesting to go in the Find My app and see it like go to each location.
It's cheaper than when iUpdate was on talking about his UPS insurance. Like just spend $29 on an AirTag, stick it in your iPhone box that you're selling.
Right. That's a good idea because the insurance is like $100. So instead you just take the loss on an AirTag. And then you don't have to get a keychain for it.
Include a little pouch, and just when the person gets their phone, be like, okay, stick your AirTag in this envelope, put the stamp on it, and send it back to me.
Yeah.
There you go. That's not a bad idea for shipping. Scott.
This is a good one.
AirTags have use cases I can't even fathom. This is... I always thought they would make for good earrings too.
Oh yeah, totally.
They had that perfect little
big hoop, like whatever,
Do you know those people
earrings?
With the big loop earrings?
Gauges.
That's what
maybe
they're called.
The people drilling the holes into them can like try that.
Yeah.
First, step 1, drill hole in your ear. Step 2, drill hole in AirTag. Step 3, connect.
AirTag piercings. It's only a matter of time. Someone's gonna do it.
Oh no. So
just don't ping them.
What I would want out of this theoretical wireless charging option is if it was like the back case came out still, and had the battery and wireless charging puck on the back case. That way, you could A, switch them out, and B, you can still disconnect the battery when you find one, whether or not it's wireless charging or not. Now, I understand tons of people on that tweet that I tweeted out, like, oh, it doesn't charge through metal, you can't do that. I'm like, okay, well, duh, this one wouldn't be metal, and I would appreciate anything else besides the super scratchable stainless steel that we have.
That's a good point.
This is dumb.
The one on my keys looks like it's been on my keys for like 3 years, and it's been on here like a week.
Same.
So
it's terrible.
Anything that's not stainless steel would pretty much be better,
like aluminum,
even if it wasn't wireless charging equipped.
Literally
it's just something
anything
that's
else.
slightly more durable.
I would get
or let it charge via the white part, the plastic side.
Yeah, well, that would work too, huh? Like literally anything.
I mean,
that
they
isn't
sell
that.
the like plastic like Apple Watch chargers, so clearly it can go through plastic.
Yeah, so that's not the problem. And people take MagSafe Duo when they're on trips and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you were on your trip with the 2132s and you're in, quarantining in some hotel, and then, oh, your batteries are low, it's like, oh, I gotta wait till I can find 2032 somewhere. Instead, I can just drop it on the charge port.
Exactly.
So
and I'm bringing MagSafe Duo on my trip, so even better. Like even if it gets low on the trip, you just put the AirTag on the MagSafe Duo.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that would
nice.
save a lot.
And it wouldn't scratch.
I was also gonna say maybe more colors.
Ooh.
I wouldn't mind.
Ooh. Okay. I hadn't even considered
AirTag.
this. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
The iMac color
think about
AirTags.
this for 5 seconds. It's not going to happen.
How Apple unveiled a all-in-one desktop and a geo-tracking device, but one of these things comes in 8 colors, and one of them comes in 1 color. Which one do you think it is?
7 colors, Drew. 7.
7?
Silver's not a color.
Does silver not count?
No. The thing that annoys me about the iMac colors is this was clearly like a throwback to the original like Johnny Ive like clear plastic iMac. But then on the website, like they should have used the same names. Like orange should be like tangerine, blue should be like blueberry. I'm like, if you're gonna go for nostalgia, because I already think that thing looks hideous. Like, at least if you're gonna market it as a nostalgic product, like make the name for the colors the same.
True. Or make it clear on the back, so you can see all the insides.
Or just
you want to go all
get
nostalgia.
rid of the bezels in the chin. Not one like what I want in an iMac video. Did somebody go, you know what I really want is white bezels and then to stick the computer in the chin.
Yeah, I don't recall anyone asking for something like that. So
I'm convinced the people who like it have Stockholm syndrome, because I'm like you've stared at it like one too many times. I'm like, and all these people who are like, I want this in a MacBook, because none of the like what I want in an iMac video was I want the it was always like I want them to remove the chin and make the bezels thinner, not I want the bezels to become white and the computer to be put in the chin.
Stockholm.
But you've looked at it one too many times and you've convinced yourself you like it.
I am in love
Everyone's
with this.
in denial.
I am in love with this.
Like if you say the magic word, if you say tangerine to them, they suddenly wake up.
You say it 3 times and they snap out of it.
I know that's not the case, but it is hilarious to imagine.
Yeah.
It is 7 colors counting silver. My mistake. I don't know what I thought the 8th one was.
It's the one that Drew's going to buy, the invisible one.
The invisible one. Still hasn't grown on me for the record. But
just turn it around and use like a mirror so you can see like everything on the screen, but you're looking at the back.
There you go.
No. I figured it out. You take your iPad Pro, you do sidecar, and you turn the iMac around. And then you have an M1 iPad right there. You're running macOS.
Oh.
So,
Sidecar.
Or you just wait to dub and see what they do.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to do at dub?
Do you think that the 32-inch iMac is going to look basically the same as the 24-inch model?
I go back and forth with myself, because on the one hand, I'm like, if it was going to look the same, they would have just showed them off at the exact same time. But on the other hand, I'm like...
That's a good point.
On the other hand, I'm like, I don't know, maybe they will just use the same design. What do you think?
I
It would be weird for them if it was the exact same design to show it later. Be like, and now it's bigger. You're welcome.
I mean, unless they just like stick it on the website on like a random like Wednesday afternoon, and it's like iMac now available in 32-inch, and it looks the same. Like if they're gonna have another like hour-long event where they talk about iMacs, I think it's gonna be a different design.
Yeah,
that gives me hope. That mindset of like, if they're gonna have another event for it, it's because there's a different design approach that they want to unveil. I hope that's the case. There's a chance for them to redeem themselves. If the 32-inch iMac is chinless and black bordered, I'll love it. But I'll still hate this one. It doesn't excuse that. But this at least will make me be like, okay, I got my dream Mac finally.
We'll just pretend the 21-inch doesn't exist. We'll be like, no, the only iMac is the 32-inch.
24.
Also, the 21-inch iMac will pretend doesn't exist.
Oh, that thing really doesn't. That thing really needs to pretend not to exist. That thing is.
It's not even in the column at the top of the Mac line.
That's right. The new one is 24 inches, isn't it? I keep thinking it's 21 inches because the bezels, since they're white, they don't look any smaller to me.
No, but on the store they still do sell one 21.5-inch iMac that's 1080p for $1,100.
Who's buying that?
I don't know who's buying. Well, I was gonna say, like, if you want to make the argument of for education, or like places or businesses that want a reception desk and they just want an iMac to be the cheapest possible thing that they don't really plan on. It's basically just going to show web pages.
Get a Mac Mini.
This is not a bad option. Get a Mac Mini, yeah, but they want it to be an all-in-one. You know, they don't want to buy the monitor and the Mac separate.
Oh my gosh,
okay,
they still do. I didn't believe you, Drew.
I would almost.
They still sell the old
recommend. One. They do. I would almost recommend that iMac over the 24-inch iMac because there's been several people that have told me, you know,
only 1080p.
I want an all-in-one. I don't need it to be super powerful. I just want a basic desktop. I want a desktop that, you know, has a bigger screen than a laptop, and I don't want an external monitor. And if you fall exactly within that demographic, then I would say, okay, 21.5-inch iMac. It's cheaper. It has your old ports, so you can still connect your old printer to it, and it's got black bezels. So
yeah, you're getting a computer that looks objectively better.
I would almost say that Intel. I mean, if you care more about performance and high speed, then the M1 is clearly the better option. But if you just need a big screen that you plan on doing Facebook on and, you know, basic web browsing on, then spending $1,300 to $1,500 on the 24-inch iMac, I'm kind of like, is it worth it though? They still sell it. Maybe they have a bunch of inventory of it and they're just trying to clear it out. I'm not sure. It's weird that it's still there, though.
Do you think they're going to get rid of
it's
that
kinda like
soon?
I could see it going either way. I think it might end up being like the Intel. They still sell an Intel Mac Mini with 4 ports. Like, that's still on the website. And I'm wondering if they're just like, well, you know, there's some people out there that want their boot camp and Intel-powered Mac, so we're just going to have like a backdoor, essentially off-menu option for those people, and maybe at the very end of the transition point they just take them off at the last minute.
Do you think there would just be a giant like day where they just like 86 Intel?
Yeah. They just completely wipe them out. There might be. I also could see it going the way of the iMac Pro, where it just says while supplies last, and it's like, we have decided this is discontinued, but you can still buy them. But once they run out, we're not going to restock. I could see that happening at some point this year, I guess. But I don't know. They haven't done that with the Intel Mac Mini. I'm looking at the store now, and it's still there. And it's objectively worse than the M1 Mac Mini, other than the I/O. That's like the one thing it has going for it. But, yeah, $1,100. And you can get it with 2 terabytes SSD. Oh, you can get 64 gigs of RAM with it.
Oh,
which I don't think the M1 can do. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of understand the Mac Mini more than the iMac because a lot of people buy it for like server racks, and maybe if like everything else is Intel, it is easier for compatibility.
Maybe that could be it. They just have a little backdoor option. But do you think when Tim said the transition would take 2 years, was he talking 2 years from quadruple UDC last year? From that date? Or do you think it was like 2 years from when the M1 launched?
I think he meant 2 years from like him like saying, hey, it's going to be 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So that means we have 1 year left, essentially, to kill off Intel.
Do you think they're going to do any more silicone this year at Dub, or do you think it's just going to be software?
I would love to be wrong, but I have a feeling it's just going to be software, just because of how much hardware we got in April. I was like, if they had hardware at quadruple UDC, I don't know. I just feel like that would be so much hardware for a single year. Although that would be great. I want that. Because as soon as we can get an updated 32-inch iMac and it looks great or it looks terrible, my buying plans will become much more clear. But my guess is that we're going to be waiting. My guess is I'm going to have to wait till after new iPhones for the updated iMac and possibly the new MacBook Pros.
Hey, I'll be waiting with you.
Yeah. Like a lot of us will be waiting.
We'll be biting our nails. Like, are they going to give it white bezels and they're going to put a chin on the MacBook Pro and.
Well, hopefully, since the new MacBooks are supposed to have mini LED, I would argue that mini LED with its true dark blacks and everything would make more sense to have black bezels, right? Like the iMac doesn't have any high dynamic range stuff. It's just a normal LCD. So does mini LED mean we can keep with the black bezel? Like they've never done an OLED device with white bezels because of the darkness of the OLED pixels and that dynamic range. So
they didn't even do like white with like the iPhone XR. That's why it makes no sense for white bezels on the iMac. I was like, I thought we were done with these. Like,
me too. That's what Snazzy said. He was like, I thought we were done with this. In fact, I was thinking back recently. I was like, the reason I got space gray everything, like I always got a black iPhone. I got the black iPhone 5. I got the space gray iPhone 6. I got the black iPhone 7. The reason I always got the black model was because I always preferred the black bezels. The only reason I started switching to silver was because on the iPad Pro, they did black bezels on every color. So I was like, oh, cool. Now I can get black bezels on a different color. Now I'll mess around with a different option. So I was like, all of my buying decisions since the dawn of Apple were built around how do I get the black bezel.
You had a silver iPod Nano, didn't you? That had black bezels.
Yeah, I had the black bezel iPod Nano.
Wow.
Yeah, it did. And then the iPod Touch I got with black bezels as well. I didn't want to get it with white. And that was always my go-to because I was like, it blends in with the display better. So this is the one Apple sheep trait I've stayed fairly consistent on and I won't budge on. Apple Watch has always had black bezels. That's the way to do it.
I had a gold iPhone 6S and that had white bezels, and I had a gold iPad Air 2 and that had white bezels, and I went from the 6S to a silver iPhone 10, which I believe the silver like 6S also had white bezels. So, and I went from the iPad Air 2 to the iPad Pro, and so I went from white to black bezels, and I don't miss them.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Did you ever have a white bezeled device that you like, Nick?
Yeah, I had many that I liked. So while you guys might hate the white bezels, I don't mind them. I think they look fine as long as the screen is on. If it's a device like
wrong,
my
Nick.
iPhone, well, that means you're wrong back at me, Scott.
You're
Where's Randy to say bang? We have black
Rag.
bezels. as long as it's a device that I'm primarily not seeing with the screen off. You know, I think I see my iPhone with my screen off maybe 24 times a day before, like, as I'm picking it up, before tap to wake turns on or whatever. I see that frequently enough where it would annoy me if the iPhones had white bezels. But my iMac will literally have the screen on 100% of the time, except for right before I go to bed when I put it to sleep, and right when I wake up when I hit that space bar. Between those two times, I will not see the iMac with a black screen, which means that the white bezels is going to look very natural between my inbox and my Finder and all that, which is kind of white to begin with. And I kind of like the whiter aesthetic. It looks cleaner in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of dark mode. I mean, I do use it from time to time, but pretty much on the white side. So I think we'll have everything matching and it'll be just fine. Now, I had an iPad Air 2, which was gold, and that had white bezels. I loved that thing to death. It was, I believe, the first laminated display iPad. So that little black gap of, black screen or white screen, black gap, white bezel, that little gap was almost unnoticeable. Like it was very, very, very small. It was there, but it was very, very, very small. I had the fifth generation iPad, the cheap one that did the Apple Pencil, that first one, that was in gold, and that had a white bezel. It had an air gap, which was a much more noticeable black border between the white screen and the white bezel. But again, it's not the end of the world for me. I guess at the end of the day, the bezel is not something that makes or breaks a product for me. I was more concerned about the chin, I think. I didn't really care about the white bezel during the introduction. I was more worried about the chin. Now, I've warmed up to the chin, which Scott says is Stockholm Syndrome, which is probably pretty accurate. But at the moment, I don't mind the chin, and the white bezels are fine. So y'all are
Chin-home syndrome.
I'm gonna when you get your iMac, Nick, I'm gonna come back up there and visit you again and see it in person. I have a feeling I'm gonna hate it more in person than.
Well, I'll make sure to get a barf bag for you.
I still wanna look at it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll look at it in person and be like, oh, okay, it's not as bad.
I'll be coming at the impressed end of May. If they can eliminate the black line, because that's always what's bugged me. I've said, like, I would be more comfortable with white bezels if they could completely eliminate it to the point of that line being invisible, because that's what it looks like in renders all the time. And that's why I think when people see renders of devices with white bezels, they're more liking to them, because they're like, wow, look how futuristic it looks, it's so clean. I'm like, but it doesn't look like that. Once you get it, it's got this big old noticeable line around everything, and that makes the edge of the display super noticeable to me, whereas a black bezel doesn't. And if I see it in person and it's really, really narrow, I'll give it some credit. I still despise the chin, mainly because I've been using iMacs with chins for over a decade now. So I'm kind of like, yeah, you can get used to it, but we were kind of hoping that with a redesign they would address that instead of the thinness.
I don't understand why they were insistent on keeping the chin on the iMac. Like, this is the company, when the iPhone 10 came out, they literally like bended an OLED display like under the screen to get rid of the chin, and no company,
they were like,
for years,
the only chinless phone.
For years, no other company was able to do that, either because like it was complex or expensive or whatever. And then like the same company decides, when they redesign their desktop, we should shove the entire computer down there.
My theory is that it had everything to do with that picture of iMac design over the years, how it gets narrower and narrower. And they were like, we need the next one to look like a big leap forward. And it has to be substantially thinner than the last one, otherwise that picture won't look good. Yep. And that was the fundamental design direction. And also, another theory I have is that they had a giant, well, this came from my dad. When I showed the Mac to my dad, he was like, what? He was confused. But I showed it to him and he was like, I bet they had like 4 or 5 different prototypes of 24-inch iMac with M1 Apple Silicon powered iMac, and pretty much all of them probably looked the same, with thin black bezel all the way around and no chin and somewhat of a bulge on the back.
Yep.
And then there was that one guy, the intern,
Gary,
who came up with this. Gary came out with the thin iMac with white bezels in the chin. And they went in the room and they see all these similar looking screens and then that one, and they're like, well, Gary did something different, didn't he? And everyone else in the lineup is like, well, but it's got a and they're like, wow, at Apple we like to think different, and literally no one expects us to do this. Everyone's been expecting us to do the iPad on a stick thing, but no one would see this coming. This would subvert everyone's expectations. And everyone was like, well, it would, it would subvert them, but not in a good way.
Have you guys heard my theory on the colors? This is, and I'm proud of this theory. So I think like they had like the thin bezeled like beautiful iMac, silver space gray. And then the like Justin Long Intel ad came out where he was like gray and grayer. And the one designer is like, you know what? Watch this, and went and like poured a bunch of different colors like on the front of the iMac and was like, here.
They took that gray and grayer comment really personally. They felt attacked by that, I think. They were
that's
not okay
none
with
of the
that
other
comment.
things in the ads mattered, but the colors that hit.
Yes.
None of the other points of like Legacy IO or the touchscreen or the
you can't game on Mac
dongle. You can play games. They were like, well, all that's stupid, but the color thing, he's got a point there.
That's a good point there, Justin.
We can all thank Justin for iMac colors.
And chins, probably.
That's my theory.
We know if Apple didn't put a chin on the iMac, there'd be an Intel ad with Justin saying, "See, this looks just like anything else. It's so dumb and silly, and look how silly this is. There's no chin on it, and an iMac is known for its chin. See, that's why you should get Intel."
I will say it will be hilarious if they do come out with a much cleaner chinless 32-inch iMac, because then, to me, it will be like them openly admitting that the 24-inch iMac is ugly. It's like,
which is why they never would.
They know it's ugly.
Advocate as to why this is worse. This is a design downgrade, which is why it's cheaper, and this is more expensive because it looks better.
They know it's ugly. When you go on the iMac webpage and you start scrolling, you always see like the back and the side. They do not show you the front until like halfway down the page.
You're kind of right. Well, they have one little corner, but it's definitely not the angle they're most proud of. All the pictures they have of people using it are from the side and from the back.
And the main image, they have it like spinning around. So if you do see the front, you see it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, they're very proud of that back.
I will be very happy because I am the target demographic. I see the back of my computer all the time, and I'm so happy that I have my studio set up the way it is, where I have my computer. I can see the back just like all those ads, and it'll be so much fun. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to walk around it looking at the iMac just like the intro ad where it goes around the thing and at least says, "Wow, that's fast," at the camera super awkwardly, which, by the way, that was an awkward moment, and we didn't need that, but...
Nic, I'm going to buy you a stool.
Point it away from me.
I'm going to buy you a stool, and you can just put it in front of the back of your iMac and just sit on it.
Well, hey, I have been needing a stool. I'll take this.
I will just put it backwards on my desk facing away from me.
Drew, is your
Just
desk,
is fair.
Is it in the middle of the room like Nick's, or is it like against the wall?
No, I used to have it in the middle of my room, but it didn't allow the floor plan to be as open. I feel like you can maximize room space when you push the desk more against the wall instead of putting it in the center, because then you've got like barriers on both sides. So I used to do that because I liked seeing my iMac Pro from behind, but the front doesn't justify the back.
Yeah. See,
Although, what do you guys think the keyboard will cost with Touch ID separately?
Whatever I think
Separately?
it's going to cost, plus like $150.
It'll be 100 and it'll be 149 plus 30, which is 179. It'll be 179. I guarantee it.
It'll be $250.
I think they might just
That'll be the numeric
round
keyboard.
it to 200.
The numeric keyboard with Touch ID will be 179. Because that's how much they charged me when I upgraded. Because did you see in the orders page, Drew? You clicked choose different keyboard, and then you could like click through.
Yeah.
You get a numpad without Touch ID and numpad with Touch ID, and that was it. Was 179 was.
I just
paid
wonder if
for.
there's going to be a bundling discount, or if
I
it's
was gonna say,
if you're getting it.
Okay, I see.
If you get it with the iMac, it's cheaper than if you get it just by
They
itself.
don't do that currently. Why would they do that with the
Well,
iMac?
they kind of did with the iMac Pro. When you bought like the Space Gray thing separately, they were more.
They with the keyboard and Magic Mouse, and I believe also the trackpad, they did upcharge people on the color.
Yeah.
It's the exact same keyboard. It just costs more because it's in black. And also, they've never sold the Mac Pro keyboard and mouse separately.
No, they haven't. That's still the exclusive one.
I got to see it finally when I checked out the Pro display, and I was like,
it as amazing as they make it out to be?
Yes.
Your mind was
Wait, the Pro
blown?
display or the keyboard?
No, the keyboard. Who cares about the Pro display?
Yes, the keyboard blew my mind. I had to drop $6,000 just for that. I wonder what those go for if they sell those on eBay. It's like just the Mac Pro keyboard and mouse, where the top is black, but the side
as
is
much as the wheels.
As much as the wheels. Yeah, that's about right. That sounds fair. So I mean, just the fact that they upsell people on Space Gray, I would not be shocked if they end up upselling people on all the different color options for the Magic Keyboard.
I'm expecting like iPad Pro Magic Keyboard pricing, like $250 to $300.
Wow.
Oh my God, that would suck, but it's very believable. It's very Apple-esque. I'll be happy if it's sub 200. I'll be like, oh, good on you, Apple.
Do you really think they're going to be selling all those colors separately? Like at some point, when the world opens up again, do you think you'll be able to walk into an Apple store and buy a blue Magic Keyboard?
Maybe like
so.
the 3 popular ones.
Okay.
Maybe.
I don't think
like,
so.
why mass produce them for the iMacs but not sell them separately? Like, is there a disadvantage to selling them separately?
It's the exclusivity. If you have a blue keyboard, you bought a blue iMac. If you have an orange keyboard, you bought an orange iMac. Like,
so it's the same thing as the Mac Pro. You're just flexing that.
Pretty much.
I dropped $1,300 on this desktop. Flex.
Well, it already only works with the M1 Max, so I think that's pretty exclusive.
Right.
And there's going to be the one guy who has like AirPods Max and bought the $80 ear cups to have like the green and the red, and he's going to want to do that with his. He's going to want to do that with his iMac. He's going to want like the orange iMac and then the blue keyboard.
Ooh, I like that combo idea, actually. Orange and blue.
Somebody's going to do it.
You got to buy 2 iMacs. Find someone that wants a blue desktop and an orange keyboard, and then find someone who wants a blue keyboard and just swap with each other. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Someone like John Morrison or what's his name? Apple World. Nikias?
Yeah,
he's going to buy every iMac color and unbox
Well, he's getting
them.
the yellow one. His whole brand is yellow. Like, there's no way Nikias isn't getting
the
yellow
one. But when the iPhone 10R and 11 came out, they would unbox every color. So now with the iMacs, they're going to be like, oh boy, I'm just unboxing every color.
I'm just imagining the iJustine video with her and 7 iMac boxes.
Yes, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Also, we should probably get YouTuber unboxings pretty soon.
I'm sure they're already making the videos now at this point, right? Like,
they could be out by the time this podcast is out.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay. Because I guess they deliver next week, huh? Yeah. Wow.
Maybe.
No,
not
week after
us,
next.
But
no, when do they
week
come?
after next for us.
When did they say?
YouTubers always get them early.
They said end of May.
Somewhere in there.
So I have either 21st or 28th highlighted on my calendar. So we got a ways to wait still. Bummer.
Maybe Friday. So maybe it's May 14th is when the embargo drops and all the videos go live at the same time. And they all say the same thing. But
it's all amazing.
It'll be... as someone who admires Apple packaging, I'm curious to check out how those iMacs are packed away in the most cost-effective manner. I bet they'll take better use of the cardboard than the AirTag does.
I don't know. They'll probably ship it in a huge crate. It'll have to be forklifted out of the back of the truck.
It's a wooden crate on your front porch.
It's a wooden crate, and the plastic holds it against the crate on the inside, so it's on the side and not moving around like the AirTag box.
And they're going to send you everything separately. You're going to get the iMac. You're going to get the power cable with the Ethernet in a different box. You're going to get the stand in another box.
From FedEx. Yeah. From a different carrier. I could see it. Are you interested in the new iPhones this year, Scott? We haven't really talked iPhone much.
I have a feeling this year is going to be an S year. And I'm not really
Me too.
all that interested. To be honest with you, for the longest time, I have a 12 Pro right now, and I kept going back and forth with myself. I really liked my 11 Pro, and I'm kind of I liked my 11 Pro more than my 12 Pro. The only reason I keep the 12 Pro is MagSafe. I'm I don't care about 5G, and the screen is honestly getting to be a little too big for me. I kind of prefer slightly smaller screen, and I prefer
the iPhone 12 mini.
I prefer the like round.
Mini.
I would, but my thing is I use the telephoto lens more than the wide angle.
Really? Okay.
Every time I've been in a situation where someone's like taking a group photo, they always like step back, and I'm like, you can just press the wide angle button. Whereas I'm always in situations where I see something and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I want to take a photo, and I'm like, oh, it's too far, and then I hit the little 2 button, and I'm like, there we go. And it's one of those things where like I'm more in control of when I use the telephoto, whereas like trying to tell somebody how to use the wide angle, it never works. I'm like, you can just hit the 0.5, and they're like, oh no, I'll just back up 10 feet.
I have run into that where people don't realize that there's extra lenses and stuff. They don't think about when they see 1x, that doesn't really register in their mind as much option. As there's a 2x button or something. I don't know. That the zoom, I do miss telephoto on occasion. It hasn't been a lot because of the pandemic and I'm at home all the time, but when I was traveling more, which now that everybody's getting more opened up and I'm getting vaccinated, I'm probably going to be traveling a bit more. So whenever I'm out and about, I like being able to zoom in. So I'm still pretty certain I'll be getting the Pro Max this year. Hopefully has the 120 hertz. If it doesn't, it's a no-go. I'm out. I don't need the telephoto that bad. I'll do 12 mini for a whole other year if we don't get 120 hertz.
My thing, I can't notice the difference. Like I put my iPhone and my iPad Pro next to each other.
You're like Nick.
And I'll like scroll through Twitter really, really fast, and that's like the only time, like for a half second, I'll be like, oh, the iPad's slightly faster. But my thing is
that's a gift.
I want USB-C on the iPhone, and I know it's never gonna happen. Yeah. So I
would love that too.
I don't see myself upgrading this year. I went from the 10 to the 11 Pro, and then I went from the 11 Pro to the 12 Pro, so I might take a year off and stick with the 12 Pro for another year. Unless, maybe if they put, like, Touch ID or something back on it, I'd consider it. I do prefer Face ID, but there are times where, like, it would be convenient to have. It depends on how they implement it. If it's under the screen, that would be cool. If it's in the power button, I think I'd skip it.
Yeah. I think I have a hard time understanding what like the flagship feature is going to be if not Touch ID, because the rumors are still very. Well, that's just for the pros though. That's not for the entry level.
They'll have more colors.
Like more colors than the 12 already. They've already got purple and red and.
They'll make the camera bump slightly larger so that you have to buy new cases and everyone can tell that you have a new iPhone.
Have you seen the updated camera arrangement?
I have. Where it's sideways.
Diagonal.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they do that so they can sell you $50 cases every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't mind the diagonal look, to be honest, but yeah, I know they definitely tinker things for the cases. Just like this whole Magic Keyboard case headache.
Honestly, if they wanted to make it thicker and just make the cameras flush, okay. Give me like a brick.
I would not mind that at all. Yeah, I'll take a brick if there's no camera bump. I don't think many people would complain. There would maybe be one or two that are like, oh, it's so chunky, but everyone else would be like, no camera bump, finally.
And it doesn't need to be charged for 3 days.
Yeah, it's a really good battery life now. I don't think anyone would really mind that. Apple probably has some mental study that shows if you pick it up and it's too big a brick, it won't work or people won't buy it or something. But what colors can they add to the base model, Nick?
Okay, first off, we have teal. This year? Second, fuchsia. Third,
I don't know these colors.
Me neither. I have no idea. These are just colors that my mother and sister
You're
talked about.
You're listing colors you don't know.
I was wondering if you were going to go with like a bright orange.
I wouldn't mind like an emergency orange, like a real
space shuttle.
Yeah,
Call
like
it
space
like
shuttle orange.
Sunset.
No,
Sunset. There you go.
That's too red.
They don't have a yellow 12, do they?
No, they don't. They'll probably bring yellow back. Yeah.
We'll probably get a yellow iPhone.
It'll probably just be the whole iMac lineup in colors on the 12.
Like the light colors or the dark colors?
The light ones. Oh no! They'll make the bezels color matched to the back aluminum.
Oh no!
Drew and Scott.
You're gonna see every sensor on the notch.
Yes.
For
all four and the earpiece and
that alone is worth sticking with the Pro. That's how they'll get people to pay the extra like $200.
I mean, with the iPhone 12 lineup, they had the updated design, they had the OLED becoming standard, and they had 5G. Those were like the everyday consumer things.
They could do 6G
they were bragging.
because 6G is just as ready as 5G.
No, we'll skip straight to 7G.
We'll go straight up to the Gs. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what is Apple going to brag about with these new models?
That's why I think it's going to be an S year. And if there was ever a year to, like, skip upgrading, I have a feeling this is probably going to be the year.
I think it's going to be every year, though.
Every year from, like, yeah.
From here on out, it's going to be a lot of S years. I think even if they found a way to ditch the entire notch, it wouldn't make that big a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
at what point do you think
I just really, really care about 120 hertz, but I think this could be my last year for a while. I don't know what they can add. I'm assuming I'll get the Pro Max this year. It's going to have the refresh rate I appreciate. It's still going to have Face ID, which I loved. It could have Touch ID, but I've gotten so comfortable with the watch mask thing now that I'm like, yeah, Touch ID sucks. Who cares?
Isn't that
as
nice?
long as I got my watch.
It changed my life.
I know. Every time we went out now and I had the mask on, I was just intentionally unlocking my phone and locking it again. I was just like...
On campus, we have to wear the mask, and so whenever I'm, like, walking on campus, like, having to unlock my phone and punch in my passcode, and now, like, walking with my mask on, I can just swipe up, and it'll be like, Apple Watch unlocked, and I'm like, why did this take so long to get here?
I agree. I wish they would have rolled that out, like, January of 2020, right before the pandemic.
They just see it coming.
It would have been... I would have never asked for Touch ID if we had that. Now that we have it, I couldn't care less. But I'll have my telephoto lens, and it'll probably be 2.5x or whatever, so it'll be plenty zoom. I'll have a big screen. I'll have ultra wide. I'll have a 15 chip. After that, I have a very difficult time figuring out what would be worth upgrading for. I don't care much about space zoom or 100x or what else. I can't. I feel like they've hit a wall.
USB-C. That's the only thing that'll get me to upgrade. And they're going to do the opposite and take the port off. So.
Yeah, they're going to take the port off, yeah. I would...
No port.
If you're going to have a port on a device, I would rather it be USB-C. I kind of want Lightning to just die off entirely. But with my iPhone, I am so into MagSafe now that even if it had Type-C, it wouldn't get me to upgrade just because I know I would never use it. I would always use MagSafe.
That's my biggest gripe with MagSafe is MagSafe is also Lightning. I'm like, why is this not a Type-C port? I had to buy a longer...
the Duo is Lightning.
The Duo. I had to buy a longer...
Yeah.
MagSafe Duo, I mean. Yeah, I had to buy like a 6-foot C to Lightning cable just for MagSafe Duo so it would be long enough. And
yeah. They were so close to having the last charger with MagSafe Duo. That one little connector. If that was Type-C, I could have charged MacBook, iPad, watch, phone, all with one cable. And nope, they missed it.
They want you to buy more adapters.
I wouldn't buy a new iPhone if it had Type-C, but I would buy MagSafe Duo all over again if they just announced the exact same thing, but with USB-C.
Wow.
Another $130. I'm sold.
That would be...
I'll do it.
Honestly, that's cheaper than upgrading your iPhone, and it's like the easiest way to get C on your iPhone.
True.
And it would save so much packing annoyances on trips.
Yes.
That you could take one cable, one brick for everything.
Yes,
and then we just need the rechargeable AirTag.
Yeah, I'm packing for tomorrow, and I'm taking MagSafe Duo and a Lightning cable, and then I'm taking my iPad Pro and a C cable, and I'm like, I wish I could just take one C cable.
It would be so nice. It felt so backward that back when I did the Pixel challenge for a month, I was able to do it with one charger. When we went on our honeymoon, I just took one USB-C cable, and I was like, this is it. I'm good. Can charge everything. And I was like, why does that work better with an Android? It shouldn't.
One of my
that doesn't
friends,
make sense.
one of my friends at school, she has a Pixel 4a, and she's always borrowing my Mac charger because it's a C charger. And I'm like, how is it she can use my Mac charger to charge her phone, and I cannot use my own Mac charger to charge my phone?
That's so backwards. I would
weird.
100% ask Tim that if we got him on the podcast or I got to interview him. I'd be like, so, my wife has an iPhone charger right next to her bed, and sometimes we take our iPad Pro to watch TV and stuff from the bed, and the battery was low on the iPad, and my wife was like, don't worry, I'll just plug it in. And I had to explain to her, no, honey, It won't work. That's a lightning cable. A different reversible charge connector from Apple. This iPad takes USB-C. So I agree. I think it's probably too soon to ditch the port. And most of the rumors I've read recently say iPhone isn't ditching it this year at all. I think we probably need a few more years of MagSafe adoption at least, if they consider ditching it. And if some law from the EU or something comes in and stops them from removing the port, then I would say Type-C is the way to go. Keep it around. It's just Apple, pretend it's not even there. Don't even show it in advertisements. Don't promote it. Just quietly, without telling anyone, release the new iPhone, but it happens to have Type-C, and just don't talk about it, and just be like, MagSafe's the way. Ship MagSafe cables with the new iPhone. Just like only endorse MagSafe, but just for those who want it.
My idea is for the Pro, because they have
just
C
the Pro,
on everything else that says Pro. So for the 2 Pro iPhones, put C on it. Because the people buying those are more likely to have C cables anyways. And then for the 2 consumer...
That's a good point.
For, the mini and the regular, 12S or 13 or whatever it's going to be called, leave that as Lightning, because those are the people buying those are going to be the people who have, Lightning cables.
The people that upgrade every 5 years and want to reuse their old charger. That's a good point. That's the iPhone is the only Pro device that doesn't have Type-C. You're right. Pro Display, Mac Pro... iMac Pro, MacBook Pros, they've all got Type-C. iPad Pro. Yeah. They've all got Type-C except for the iPhone Pros. Those are the only ones with.
And the Apple Watch Pro. I'm really waiting for the Apple Watch Pro with with a USB-C charger.
Honestly, Series 6 is basically Apple Watch Pro, and then SE is basically the one everyone should buy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's. I also have a hard time figuring out what they're going to do with the Series 7. Were you the one who was not too impressed with the Series 6 blood oxygen?
So I have...
Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, that was me. I have lung issues,
Scott.
and so blood oxygen is actually very useful for me. And so my mom, she has an Android phone, and on there, it had the little sensor to measure blood oxygen, and she would always make fun of me. She'd be like, your iPhone can't do this. And I kept being I was like, Apple's not the type of company to put a sensor on the iPhone, but I was like, the watch would be perfect for it. And they finally brought it to Series 6, and I upgraded from my Series 4 just for it. And it works well. My thing is half the time it does not take a reading. One of the things I do like about it is it'll update and send it to my iPhone in the background so I can look at my blood oxygen throughout the day, which is useful for me. But it annoys me. It takes 15 seconds to run, and sometimes I have to take it off of this wrist and put it on my other wrist for it to work. So I think I think they definitely have some improving to do there. I'm grateful it has it, and I'm glad I upgraded for it, because it is. I know it's not useful for everyone, but for me with lung issues, it is. It is helpful. And I tried sleep.
That's great,
sleep tracking, and it tracked it in my sleep too, which was useful. But I decided I don't like knowing all that info when I sleep, so I stopped sleep tracking.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I did sleep tracking for about a year, and after a year I was realizing that it was just kind of meaningless data. It's I'm not really doing anything with it. When I sleep poorly, I can tell you confidently, I didn't sleep well last night. I woke up 5 times for some reason. I was just thinking about work and thinking about life, and I didn't sleep well, so I didn't track it. But I can tell you confidently.
My thing is it would tell me how many hours I'd been asleep. It'd be you slept 4 hours last night. And I'd be I don't want to know how little sleep I got. I'd be I already know I got a little sleep. I don't want to know an exact number.
Exactly. You can tell everyone, I got 4 hours and 32 minutes of sleep last night. Ugh.
I got 4 hours and 18 minutes of sleep last night.
Oh, wow. That's even worse.
But yeah,
I ate
the
a
red
funnel cake that had 1,280 calories in it.
It's funny, you went from stainless steel sapphire to aluminum, and I went from aluminum to stainless steel.
Oh, how do you like it?
I absolutely love it. When I bought my Series 4, I got the cheapest Series 4 I could, because I had an original Apple Watch, and it was the first Apple product I ever got that I did not like, and so I was very wary when I got the Series 4 of this might suck, and I don't want to drop $800 on a stainless steel watch I'm not gonna like. And I ended up loving the Series 4, and then for like the next 2 years, every time I would look at it, I'd be like, oh, I hate the fact that this is aluminum, because my watch band has the like stainless steel connectors, so it didn't match.
Right.
And so finally,
I see.
for Series 6, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna get a nice like stainless steel.
Nice.
It's gonna match my watch band.
Mm-hmm. What color 12 Pro do you have?
I have the what's the blue called? Pacific Blue.
Pacific Blue. Okay.
And I'm not the biggest fan of it. I had midnight green. Green is my favorite color. So on the 11 Pro, I had midnight green.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I wish they had just kept that this year, because I loved that color. The blue is fine, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it wasn't mine either. Wonder what steel color they'll go with this year.
I hear it's hard for them to like get the steel to be different colors. So any color I can think of, I'm like, I don't think they can make steel that color. But if they wanted to do an iPhone 7 like jet black, that would look good.
Ooh. I kind of miss the jet black, like dark piano black instead of like gray graphite. Yes. You know, that's what they've been doing for a while. I think deep like jet black or product red are my two favorite color options. So if they could either do a product red steel, I would totally go for that. Or Apple iDesigner did a Iron Man phone once I showed Nick, which is gold steel and red glass. And that combo looked really good to me. I was like, I would totally buy that if they had it. And or the jet black too, just an all black, like as dark as possible. But I'm not a fan of the glossy steel. Nick and I disagree on that. He prefers that.
I love the
gloss look. I've always preferred the matte finish.
I'm not a fan of the glossy steel. I have an Apple leather case, so I don't like smudge up the sides of the
there
steel.
You go. Smart. Does any of us plan on getting a Series 7 this year?
No,
I'm
it depends on what they do with it until it dies. The Apple Watch is almost as much as an iPhone. Like,
oh yeah, sometimes more.
Yeah.
What did you say, Nick?
It really depends on what they do with it. If they do the iPad Pro 2018 treatment to it, and they make it look substantially different.
I don't know how they do that.
Didn't they already do that with the Series 4?
That's what the Series 4.
Okay, no, not the display, but the chassis. If they make the chassis flat like an iPad
like it
Pro.
Squared it off?
Yes, squared off, chassis that way. That would probably tempt me towards an upgrade, but honestly, I'm using a stainless steel Series 4. I honestly don't have any complaints about it. I have started wearing it more recently because of, fitness stuff. But other than that, like,
have you tried the mask thing?
Really don't use it. No, I haven't. I don't even know if I've updated the watch.
I don't think he leaves his house to ever need to try that.
You should. Even if you don't leave your house, it's awesome. Like, I would just around my house, I would do this just so I could trick the feature into working, because I like the noise the watch makes, and it makes this very satisfying
what does it sound
taptic feedback. It's the sound it makes when it unlocks your Mac. I guess you never
just
do
like
that.
It's just that. Yeah.
But it sounds like an actual lock unlocking, which is really sad. I wish it would do that every time I unlocked it. Some people wouldn't like that. That's fine, but I would do it.
I do that with the AirTag sounds. Like, I love the little sounds they make. So even if I see my keys, I hit the play sound button.
I like the little sound effects they gave it. Yeah. I don't know. I just wish the watch could unlock everything, not just when you're wearing a mask, but like iPad, Mac, phone, just unlock everything because it's registered and it's attached. But yeah, I think the squared off edge design Series 7 would tempt me, because with the Series 4, when I had that and the Series 5 came out, I was like, oh, well, it basically looks exactly the same. But if it doesn't look the same, and now every time I look at my wrist, I'm like, you're old. This is dated. This is the
I don't want to play with you anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore. So I wouldn't say I for sure would upgrade, but it would definitely make me think about it if it looked different. I'd be like, ooh.
I think
I'm happy to say the glass hasn't aged too bad for me.
Really? On my Series 4, that was another reason I went with stainless steel. I could see, in the light, the scratches. And on this one, I don't have any. I have more scratches on the steel than I do on the display.
That's the main reason I went with steel originally, was because I bought my Series 3 when that first came out, the aluminum one. and within like a month of owning it, I saw scratches everywhere on the glass, and it was really distracting. Every time I looked at the watch, I noticed every scratch, and I was like, this is horrible. And the channel was kind of taking off at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna be stupid and buy another watch that's more expensive because I like it. And I think I sold that Series 3 to someone, so I helped offset some of the cost. But that was my biggest concern with going with the red on the 6. But how many months has it been now? 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah, it's almost 6.
Since I bought it, and I don't know, maybe they changed the chemistry. Maybe they gave it that ceramic shield, or I don't know, did something with the glass. But I don't notice it. If I shine it really hard under lighting, I can find a couple, but it was not nearly as obvious as the Series 3 was. So I'm comfortable sticking with aluminum.
That's good. Do you still like the red color?
This one's aging.
Because I heavily considered getting the red or the blue, like aluminum, but I was like, my biggest worry is after like a month or two, I'm gonna be like, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
The only thing, I still like the look of it. The thing though I've realized is that it doesn't work with other watch bands as nicely.
Yep.
Just color wise, I mean, functionally, I could still slap other watch bands on there, but with the chrome, or the steel ones that you guys both have, those mirror finishes complement pretty much any watch band so well. You can get a red watch band, you can get a blue watch band, you can get a black one, a white one, and it just contrasts so nicely with pretty much any loop, anything you want to put on there. Whereas the red only works, in my opinion, with black or red. You can get a red watch band or a black watch band, but if you get anything else, it just looks off to me. Like a white watch band with the red chassis just looks weird, and my blue watch band with the red chassis looks weird. So I always dig product red products, so when they came out with one, I was like, I've always wanted that. I want to try it at least for a while, but if I upgrade it again, I probably would get a silver, something more neutral that would complement other watch bands better. But yeah, I still like it. I just don't change the watch bands on it. It's kind of what's the term?
I'm kind of conflicted about it. I think I'll probably end up upgrading if it looks substantially different. But
if they made it circular, would either of y'all upgrade?
I probably wouldn't upgrade for circular. I'm not a huge circular guy. I don't mind the square watch at all. I think it looks kind of nice, but the circular watch is not specifically a reason why I would upgrade. Now it would be nice though if Apple Watch came with AirTags technology with the U1 chip, and you could
they do
AirTag your stuff. And you could do the ultra wideband
It's a part of the Find My network, right? Doesn't
where is
Apple
my
Watch,
no? I'm sorry, the close find, not the where it is in the world, but the
U1
2
chip.
feet away.
I know.
I'm
telling you, Nick, it has the U1 chip.
Well, yeah, but it's not activated or whatever.
Well, maybe we'll get that at Dub, and you can find your Apple Watch.
They could roll it out to more. It's not a hardware limitation. They're being weird about it. I don't know why. They should.
What about you, Drew? If they made it circular, would you go for that or try it out? Or
I don't personally see the point. I think that circular watches made sense when all they did was the time, but when you're displaying information in text, I check email and I look at stock prices and I read text messages, it really just cuts off your corners really substantially, to the point that you have to really tinker the OS so that you can read the same amount of information, or you have to make the watch much bigger. And I also have a fear that if they did a round one, it wouldn't work with your old watch bands and stuff. So I would be kind of against it. I don't know. Maybe if they had a design that looked good. I just haven't seen one I liked yet. But all the concepts of round Apple Watches I've seen, to me, a smartwatch makes sense to have a square screen, and then you can have watch faces that are round, right? If you want a more round user interface, you can put that on a square screen. But once you have a circular screen, it's a lot harder to then show text and information and scroll through settings and stuff. There's a way to do it. I've seen different OnePlus and Wear OS have their different attempts.
A Galaxy like Gear, and that's circular. And And before I got an Apple Watch, I wore a circular watch, and every time I look at her watch, I'm like, I kind of wonder like if I would like it if my Apple Watch was circular. I'm not for it or against it. I'm kind of like, I wonder what that would be like.
I'd be curious to see how they would handle it with the OS, because there's definitely a lot of info that gets cut off when you design it like that. So that Apple's smart, they could probably do it in a way that works, but I don't know. At the same time, they've become like the #1 watch in the world without a circular one. So
yeah.
I mean, I do what you said. I just have a circular watch face, which is nice because in the corners, like around the circle, I can put information. So I have like the weather, the date, and then down below I have like the like actual time, and it's all in the corners, and my watch face is still circular.
Right. I have my own theories on why they don't do it, mainly based around the text and how the OS handles it. But I would love to pick Tim's brain on it, or whoever's in charge of the Apple Watch. I'd love to just sit down and be like, so did you think about a round one or a circular one? And what exactly steered you away from that? That'd be an interesting conversation, I feel like, to hear the engineer's side of things.
Yeah, that needs to be an Apple TV Plus show.
You know they have circular like watch prototypes. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
They must.
Speaking of Apple TV Plus, everyone who has their free trials is probably going to end in a few weeks. So if you had a show that you really liked,
does it end in May?
July.
So we got
like
till end of June.
8 weeks or so.
Opened Apple TV and I still have my free trial going, and I haven't even opened the app in months.
You're like, I still can't.
I went to go cancel it, and they were like, "Oh, actually, we're extending it another 6 months."
Yep.
It's like, yep.
They keep doing that. Yeah. Are there any Apple services you're using, Scott?
I use Apple Music, and I pay for iCloud storage. Those are the two services I use.
Gotcha.
I haven't yet converted.
You don't care much for the
YouTube Music.
Not particularly. They sent me, hey, I have a bone to pick with you, Nick, because 6 months before Nick switches from Apple Music to like YouTube Music, I said, hey, Nick, I'm thinking about canceling Apple Music and using Google Play Music because it comes with my YouTube Premium subscription. And he goes, no, Scott, don't do that. You're not an Apple sheep if you don't use Apple Music. And then 6 months later on the podcast, Nick is like,
wow.
I canceled Apple Music and I'm using YouTube Music. I texted him like right in the middle of that, and I was like, you did what?
Nick, you did what?
Scott, for everyone who didn't know, Scott has all of my best ideas. So,
yes, anytime Nick says an idea on the podcast, it probably came from me.
Likely.
Wow.
Likely.
But
he's the shadow writer.
So I have student discount on Apple Music and YouTube Premium right now.
Nice.
So after I graduate,
Sweet.
I'm probably going to cancel Apple Music and just pay the full price for YouTube Premium and use YouTube Music. But until then, I really like Apple Music just because I can tell Siri, like, play whatever song pops into my head.
True. That's made my HomePod kind of useless.
Oh, yes. I also have a HomePod Mini, so
yeah.
Maybe I'll cancel YouTube Premium and keep Apple Music.
Right. I wonder how many people are keeping Apple Music just for their HomePods. And that's the only reason. They're like, well, then that would be useless. So I need to keep paying for it. But then why charge so much for HomePods? That doesn't make sense.
Actually, speaking of Apple services, I need to upgrade my iCloud storage plan because I'm paying for the 99-cent one, which is like 50 gigabytes, and I'm almost at the bar, and I'm like, I could go delete a bunch of photos, or I could just go to the next tier.
Google Photos. Back it all up while you can.
Yeah.
It's going to run out at the end of the month.
I might do that too, but I don't want Google to have my photos.
Same servers.
That's true.
They're in the same
They're in the same room.
That's the way I see it. But for those who don't know, Google Photos is offering unlimited backup for the rest of this month, and then it's gone. And then you can't. For photos and videos.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'll back up just my videos because those take up the most space.
Right. Those will save a lot. And I've been at the 200 gig line for basically ever since I downgraded my 2 terabytes. We've been right at the edge, not deleting enough. So I don't want to upgrade again, but
yeah, I'm right at the edge of my 50 gigabytes.
Find a place for everything. I wish I could get down to 50 again. That would be nice. Save.
I kind of want to
work out
stay.
some more
I
on
want
the
to stay
treadmill,
at 50.
Drew.
I don't.
Get down from
I don't want to
200
go
to
to
50.
the 200.
Yeah, it would be very different if they had unlimited storage. If you just knew you were never going to run out. That's the big difference to me. If it was like $10 a month and I'll never run out of space, that's amazing. But if it's $10 a month and I'm still going to run out of space someday and then I'm going to have to go through and delete stuff, then why not just settle with 200 and delete stuff now?
Yeah.
So
True.
anyway, we've been going for a while. Do you have any closing thoughts or final questions, either of you, before we wrap up?
Yeah, Drew, I have a question for you. Why don't you like the new iMac? What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Nick,
I can't put my finger on
Nick,
it.
I have a question for you.
You can put
Why
your chin on
do you
it, though.
like the new iMac?
What are the bezel? What's the bezel color of your Apple Watch?
It's white. See, I got some white out and I painted the
Oh
bezel
my
white
God.
just
He
to prove a
he
point.
would too.
He would do that. Apple's got everyone in a trance.
That'll be his next. That'll be his next video. Upgrading Apple Watch to white bezels.
I wanted white bezels on all my devices. With a D brand, it's probably not that hard.
There you go.
They'll make a white bezel pack for all your Apple
And then they'll
devices.
charge you like $50 for it, for a sticker.
Yeah, good old D brand.
Probably. They know you
All
got
right.
money. Anyway, thank you for coming on, Scott. We appreciate it. And thank you all for listening / watching. We will catch you all soon. Hopefully there's AirPods or something next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.